Let's get messaging. No, we're not gonna do that. Messaging is my next thing here. Rules for the dating challenge. We'll just jump right in. The first thing, we did talk about this a little bit earlier, but just in case you didn't catch it, men, message everyone that you match with within the first 24 hours.
It's a rule. You have to do it. For women, they have a little bit of wiggle room. They can wait up to 48 hours to see if he will message them first. I know as a woman, I like to be pursued, and so I like to be able to have them give the option that they can message me first. But if not, then you do need to reach out and send them a message within 48 hours. If you are someone, though, that is more comfortable sending the first message and it doesn't bother you, if you're okay sending the first message, go for it. It's totally fine. Nobody's saying you can't do it before 48 hours.
You must send an actual message. When we're saying messaging, this does not, hi, hey, sup. Those don't count.
Nope.
It's got to be an actual message. It can still be short.
Yeah, one sentence.
You can be like, hey, you have blonde hair. Are you from Sweden? Don't do that.
What you want to do is you want to reference their photos and you want to reference their bio to come up with some interesting things. I do have something that I forgot to put on here. Make sure to read their bio and don't ask them something that they clearly put in their bio. Like if they put in there, like if I said, I design wedding dresses for a living, don't send me a message saying, what do you do for a living? Reference their photos, reference what they say in their bio, and then come up with something from there. So like I talk about Steve on his dating profile. He has a photo of him in Petra.
Right.
And it's such a great opener because you could easily just say, hey, I see you've been to Petra. It's been on my top 10 list. Do you think it was worth all the hype?
Yeah. Don't put so much pressure on yourself with saying the right or wrong thing. Exchanging numbers.
Yes.
This is great because I try to get their number as soon as possible. The goal of getting the number is actually so that you can set up a time to date in person. Don't get caught into the endless trap of now we're text buddies. Nobody needs another text buddy and nobody wants one.
No.
So get the number so that you can say, hey, I want to get your phone number so that I can take you out on a date.
Yep.
Go ahead, use the date word. It can be as plain as that. And girls love to hear you say that.
Oh, we love it. We swoon. Don't fall into the texting trap. If you see that it's starting to go that way, there's subtle little things that you can say to help nudge him in the right direction. Sometimes they just need to know, like, they are the all clear to ask you on a date. One of the things my dating coach taught me was if you see it going into that trap and he asks you a question like, oh, you've been to Hawaii. What did you think of Hawaii? Instead of me telling him, I could say, oh, I have some great stories about it that we could talk about over dinner.
That is perfect.
It's perfect.
That is, I really love that.
It's smooth.
And it says, oh, I need to take her out. I want to hear these stories about Hawaii, etc.
I advise talking on the phone with a person at least one time before you go on a date with them. Simply the reason is you can tell if you're going to have chemistry with people before you meet up. I was telling Steve, I actually had a conversation with a guy that I had met on mutual. I thought it was a great conversation. I was having a great time. I honestly thought he was going to ask me on a date, and he got really quiet and he goes, you laugh way too much. And like legit told me, he's like, I'm not interested because you laugh too much. But
I hate laughing.
I'm glad I knew that before I was at dinner with the guy.
Life is dour.
But so if you're going to talk on the phone, one of the rules of thumb should be don't talk more than 15 minutes. The reason is you don't want to do that thing where you talk for 4 hours and then you run out of things to talk about on your first date. So leave them wanting more.
There's one more line here that says, say you're one of our persons taking the dating challenge and you live in Abu Dhabi or something like that. Skype dates also a great way to get to know people who live out of state or far, far away on Judea's plane. Yeah, I've never done it, but if you do it, great. Let us know how it goes.
It's really fun because especially instead of just talking to somebody on the phone, you can actually see their face and their facial expressions. And it's a little bit more personal and you can see if you have a spark there. Okay, so start messaging. We'll talk to you soon.